Welcome to the Blind Apex Podcast, where amateur club racers tune in to get faster.
Hello, listeners. I'm your host, Con John Turk. This episode of the Blind Apex Podcast is going to cover track family. Racers, if you think this one doesn't apply to you, you're wrong. You are an ambassador to your sport. You are what people want to become. You're basically influencing the HPDE kids or older adults at this rate. Joining me to discuss this topic is a fellow racer, a fellow member of several different track families, same families I belong to. It's Jake from OutMotorsports. Welcome, Jake.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, good. So how's the off season been treating you so far?
Well, it's been great. I rely on a shop for all my off-season work, or all of my work generally, so I've done nothing to the race car. I'm going to drop it off on Saturday to have everything gone over and, see what it needs, if anything. But the beauty of racing a spec car is that there's no real upgrades to be done. It's just, tires, brakes, fluids, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Jake races Spec 3. And is Fun Flam still taking care of your car?
Yeah. The world's best bearded mechanic. I think it says a lot about the quality of someone's work when you're willing to take your car 2 hours each way to have that mechanic work on it. But yeah, he worked on my GTS2 car for probably 4 years. And then it was just kind of not even a question that when I got the Spec 3, he would also do the work on that.
Yeah. When he was working on Cabeto's Mustang, he definitely was a good guy. So he's definitely a trusted member of the community, for sure.
Yeah.
And you are fortunate.
Like it's one of those things where, like, if you're dropping the car off and you're more or less willing to write a blank check, you have to trust whoever's on the other end of the phone.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Trust me. There's only a couple people I would hand my car over to. So I understand what it's like to need somebody who's trusted. You hinted around to that Spec Series life, and to a point, Honda Challenge wants to be a Spec Series. They want to, or at least in H2, they want to equal the playing field. I feel that the rules are doing a pretty decent job. It's kind of hard because we cross chassis, engines. Different decades of Hondas. It must be much easier to live that true spec life where it's like you buy this car, you buy these shocks, you run this pad,
right? You
run this exhaust, and then you go race. You guys is your tire size spec'd also? Or are you required to run the 235s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you can run the 15-inch wheels as an option with a different tire size, but nobody really does at this point because the cars look better, and I think they're guaranteed to be faster on the 17s. So everyone's got them for dries, and then our rain tire is a 15 still.
Oh, okay. So your rains are still 15s. How wide? What kind of width can you get? Can you get to a 245 in a 15?
No, they're something teeny. They might be 215s or 225s at the most. Okay. I couldn't tell you. I will know soon because the ones that are on my rain wheels are 11 years old and had all the grip of Lego wheels when I tried them last year. So we're getting a new set.
Oh yeah, you definitely do. Maybe not the 15s, but the 17-inch RA1s don't like being older than, say, 4 or 5 years old, even if they're conditioned.
Oh, yeah.
Kept in air conditioning and stuff. They apparently blow up. They throw belts catastrophically.
Yeah. I was reading about that, and I don't need that.
Yeah, definitely don't want to do that. Well, at least you have an easy off season. I'm too busy messing with the car still, but it's new to me.
Well, so I have an easy off season in the sense of the car, and like Kevin has worked on it fairly recently, and I don't really think he's going to find anything that it needs that's catastrophic. But I took my trailer in for tires, and I looked at them before at the end of the season or whatever, and they were 5 years old, and they were like cheap Chinese trailer tires, and they were getting low on tread, so I figured, okay, it's time. And when I came to pick it up from the trailer shop with the new tires on, they said, hey, can you look at these? And they showed me the old tires, and the inside edges of them were corded. And they said that both of my trailer axles are bent. So I am spending money on new trailer axles, and they are some special type of axle for my special type of, frou-frou trailer that my trailer doesn't have leaf springs. Like the suspension is part of the axle somehow. So this is going to cost like a somewhat substantial amount of money for axles. And I am only not upset about this because the trailer's like 17 years old.
Are you on torsions?
Yeah,
is it a torsion axle?
Like Torflex or something.
Okay.
It's a certain brand.
It's a branded torsion axle. While torsion axles are awesome for basically distributing the load and not bouncing all over the place, as we automatically go off topic in the first couple minutes of the podcast, but the problem is when you bend one and you have to replace it, they cut everything off and then have to re-weld to your chassis, to your frame on your trailer. So it's going to be exciting for you. The people who know how to do it, they're good at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the money's going to be in that axle.
That's what he said.
These guys know.
He said the work itself is not very hard.
Yeah, it's not hard. I mean, they're going to weld on the new mounts and stuff, but outside of that, it's not difficult,
Right.
I'm sure they have jigs and they bump them into place and then they just burn them in, paint it up.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's terrible. But, I mean, you did get 5 years out of them, so hopefully you're not tearing up the new. Did you leave the trailer with them?
No, I have
you put it back in storage?
Because I have to take the car this weekend to drop it off. But then, from there, I will not be needing the trailer until the axles come in and they do the work.
Yeah. Okay. No. I don't think a trip to Richmond and back is going to tear up your brand new tires. And if honestly, they do look a little weird, just flip them.
Right, and they're $60 a piece. Like, even if they last a year, it's whatever.
Yeah, I see a lot of people fret over trailer tires, and I've had really good luck with not super expensive ones, but my open trailer is set up to run like Tractor Supply standard setup, When we made the hot run to get the new car all the way down in Louisiana, all I had to do was find a Tractor Supply. I mean, I carried 2 full spares and 1 off the rim. But I mean, if I bent a rim and I wanted to make sure I carried 2 full rims and all that stuff, I just had to go to Tractor Supply. And they're everywhere.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I live on the edge in that I only carry 1 spare wheel and tire. But, I have had remarkable luck so far. I've only had 1 blowout, which was when I hit something that I couldn't avoid, typical like piece of metal on the road. But other than that, I've had friends that were blowing tires all the time and, you have to have, extra load range and all this stuff. And I just check the pressures every time I go anywhere, and I don't carry all this junk in my trailer that I don't need. So I try to keep the weight out of it.
Yeah. We were doing 2,400 plus miles in 3 days. I kind of was over the top about what I was bringing.
Well, you didn't want to waste time.
I had, I set up, I had a go kit behind the driver's seat of my Tundra with the impact and everything ready to go. The trailer mate, all that stuff was ready. Just rip and go. So,
yeah.
But
yeah, if you keep everything set up like that, then hopefully you'll never need it. And I do the same thing, like right inside the trailer door is everything I need.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad you're not, your car's not having a hard off season, but your trailer's getting some work done. But, they get it fixed. It'll probably go another 20 years. So you should be okay. It sucks that you're the one holding the trailer when it happens, but.
Yeah, but, it's a really nice trailer. I got a really good deal on it 7 or 8 years ago whenever I bought it. And it's a 2004 or 5 model year. So, okay, stuff is old. It's going to need some love.
Yeah, it happens. I'm rewiring my entire trailer this year. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, I had a light go out, so I jacked up the back end of the trailer to go find what ground, came loose or broke or whatever. And I found that somebody who owned it before me, I don't know which owner, but there's probably 30 owners of this trailer, used some speaker wire to make some patches in the harness. So Jason and I decided we're just going to basically redo the whole thing. So
yeah, well,
no big deal.
It's one of, at least then you'll know it's done right and it's good for a long time.
Yeah, and while I'm under there, I'm going to reseal the bottom of the steel deck and the frame and everything, General maintenance on a 20-plus-year-old. I think mine's made in 99,
exactly.
So.
Yeah, okay, so you're playing the same game I am.
Yeah, it's old, so let's just fix it a little bit. My tires don't wear out, knock on wood, but...
Yeah, well, that's good.
The wiring is poo. So, anyway.
Yeah.
So let's head down this podcast topic road a little bit. Describe what you think the traditional paddock environment is like. Because you've been around a long time. And you know the HPD side. You know a lot of different sides.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting.
Talk to me about the paddock.
Yeah, I've been around since 2008, which makes me feel old at this point. I've watched kids grow up and go to college, within the track family. So that's just mind-blowing.
Baby Cabetto.
No, it's, both of them. But no, it's been a generally friendly and welcoming atmosphere, and it always has been. And I got into this, I think, as you did in college, where I knew no one, and I was also new to being an adult. So I kind of grew up with a lot of these people, and the older I've become, the more I just get excited about welcoming new people into the fold, whether it's new college students that are coming to volunteer for the first time or do their first driving event, or anyone who brings a friend or, a partner to hang out for the weekend, or someone who's not 18 years old who's doing their first track weekend finally. It's always very welcoming. And one of my favorite things I look forward to is always the end of the day on Friday and Saturday, because even on the days where I've had, objectively bad days with the race car, whether it's, blown a head gasket or been run into, or I ran it into something, or, whatever, where I'm down and out for the weekend, I always look forward to, pouring a drink with some of these, friends I've made, and these are friends I may only see there, and people are, grilling and, offering food and being chatty, and you just kind of, wander the paddock and get to talk to people. And it's always fun to catch up.
Yeah, I generally say outside of Hyperfest, the paddock area is an extremely safe place. It's kind of easy to go, oh, there's clicks, right? It's really just those little groupings of friends or race groups. I know race groups where there's like 2 or 3 pods of that same race group. They're not actually that far away from each other. But
yeah. And even then, I wouldn't say it's, cliques. It's just people who've known each other for 5, 10, 15 years. But the thing I've noticed, especially recently, I think in maybe the last 4 or 5 years, I've gotten better at just introducing myself to people I don't know, which is not something I was always maybe the best at. But even if you're walking through the paddock in the middle of the day and you just wave at somebody and say hi, they're usually willing to say hi and introduce themselves and make themselves a paddock friend. So, I think if people say, oh, it feels kind of cliquey sometimes, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that.
I think you will hear people say that because they haven't made that trip around the paddock yet. And it's just easy to go, oh, the E30s are over there. Oh, the Hondas are over there. Oh, the 46s and the 36s are over there. The Corvette guys are down by the bathroom, so they don't have to walk far in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. Like, I mean, it seems from the far outside very cliquey, or it can be, right? You'll see 10 chairs piled around one grill or under one easy up or whatever. But I promise anybody who's getting into this sport, if you walk up, they'll find you a chair, tell you to pull up a chair. I haven't found anybody who hasn't been inviting. And I drive a Honda, so we generally piss everybody off. So if they'll invite me in, I think everybody's safe, So I wanted to sort of go over that a little bit and try to dispel the myth, There's a lot of different people at the track, right? So we have HPDE people, we have TT guys, we have racers, and everybody's at a different spot in their life. And I think it's okay. We're all accepting of that. Some people, they're on a shoestring budget. Other guys come in. I watched $1 million rig come in, and there was a E30 that looked like it needed to go to the body shop that was rolled out ready to race. And I was like, he spent $1 million on this thing, and that E30 needs all body panels replaced and a paint job. At first I didn't think an E30 was coming out. I thought like a McLaren or something was coming out of there. But, everybody does their own thing. But I think in the paddock area, just because you're present, you're automatically accepted.
Exactly.
We're all there for that same goal. We're trying to do the car thing on track, whatever the car thing is, whether we're still in school, whether we're playing in TT, or whether we're going racing,
Yeah. And I would say it's very much it's a great equalizer, in that it doesn't matter if you're the one showing up where you drove your, kind of clapped $3,000 E46 325i to the track with no tools in the back and you're doing your first weekend versus, a setup like you have with an older Tundra and an open trailer versus $1 million motorhome and a stacker trailer. Like, everyone's there for that same purpose.
Absolutely. And I think the HPDE guys or new racers, because we don't always get the same guys. Some folks, life changes, right? They were in, I don't know, say California. Their job moves them for whatever reason to Richmond, Virginia. Okay. He's been a racer in California, or maybe he's been HPDE and he took comp school and he had to hang it up. I say Jake, you should smack me for this. The racer comes from another place. I always speak like I'm exuding myself, so I'm terrible about that stuff. But anyway, a racer goes through comp school, has some work stuff going on, personal stuff going on, has that comp license and a cage car, but life forced them into a new arena, or they've gotten a windfall of money and they're ready to hit a bucket list of tracks throughout an entire year. You're going to have people who just come up who are strangers, They may have it all sorted out. They may not. The HPD guys don't have it sorted out. I can promise you that. I never had it sorted out. I needed help the whole time. Right. And I was the guy who was trailering his HPDE car, and I still didn't get it all right, but everybody's willing to help a hand.
It's just one of those things where because everyone's been there and everyone knows that, even if nothing happened to them, my HPDE career was pretty easy. A lot of things that could have broken didn't break and was all fine. But I know a lot of people who had different times, and it's it could have been me, so let me help them out.
Yeah, I've always looked at it that way, and I think most people there do. I believe the camaraderie of speed and being at the racetrack. If you looked at some people's social media posts or whatever, you would understand that you and that person don't agree on a lot, but inside that paddock, that stuff didn't matter. It doesn't matter, and they will help you and you will help them. All the regular stuff goes out the window when you're at the track. And I think that's pretty important. Now, I say that, but I have a theory, and maybe you agree or not, but I went to school for forensic psychology, and so I get tripped up on, let's say, just call it stereotypes, okay? I believe that we don't have a lot of we have a lot of type A personalities, not a lot of type Bs in the paddock. I think we have a lot of alpha males or alphas in general. Because I believe you have to have some sort of bravado and confidence at a certain level in the paddock area. But to me, and I see this in HPDE, right? When I was in HPDE, there were guys that were rolling in and they already had their race suits. They had carbon fiber helmets. I mean, we're talking HPD 1, right? Carbon fiber helmets, matching shoes and gloves and a suit and all this stuff. And they definitely drove a Porsche because their suit said so. And, it was just, there's a level of swagger. And I think you kind of have to have that there. But normally in the whole psychology world, you would think that the alphas would clash every now and then, and I don't see that at the track. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I don't know. I think it presents differently in everybody. I think you're right in that to do something like this, even if you're doing HPE, it takes a lot of self-confidence, even if you know that you don't know a lot when you're just starting out. It still takes a lot of self-confidence, and I like the term bravado or just gumption, if you will, to get out there and say, I'm going to go do something that is legitimately dangerous. Despite all the safety gear, I'm going to be driving fast with other people, and someone in the right seat who I don't know is going to tell me how to be better and push my limits to make me do things I don't think I can do. And then I'm going to graduate from that to doing it by myself, and I'm going to go faster and faster and push the limits more and more. It definitely takes a certain type of person to do that. I think there are also some people who think it would be fun, who maybe don't, they may see those personalities at the track and not feel as if there's room for them there, just looking from the outside in, which might be different once you get there.
Yeah, that's why I think people need to ignore a lot of people's social media stuff in general, because it's probably true to their personality in general, but it changes. There's no way that all the micro families that are there, the big race family as a general, or the paddock family as in general, there would be all sorts of issues if people didn't know how to keep certain things in check while they were all together, So
right.
you can,
and I think
if you see that
to
stuff,
your point about
ignore it.
Yeah, and I think to your point about you don't see a lot of people clashing, I think that's absolutely the case. I do think, when I see things on social media, I have, I've called it out before, either publicly or privately, where it's just like, hey, this isn't cool. I pick my battles because they're not always worth it, but when it is worth it, I'll call it out. And, sometimes people are kind of humble about it. And, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize this came across this way. And we have an actual conversation. Those are the people where I see them in the paddock and we still get along, and I still want to be their friend, because we have a good relationship. And, I know that when we're in the paddock and we're at the track, we're not talking about certain things, and we probably don't see 100% eye to eye, but we can still learn from each other and have these certain conversations, usually online, but whenever. I think there are also other people who their reaction when they get called out is probably very genuine, but they are who they are. And, when someone shows you who they are, you should believe them the first time. And those are the people where when they do show me that online, I don't ignore it. I will still be polite to them in the paddock, but I am not in the business of being everyone's friend if they are in the business of believing that I am lesser than them in society and they're very loud about it. So I do have to draw a line somewhere.
Yeah, obviously you and everybody's experience is going to be different. I never get that. And you probably do take it better than I do if it were to happen to me. So bravo to you. Because there is the term or the phrase kinder, gentler tech shed. Because when I was in tech, I was unruly to some folks who kind of needed it. You're a race car driver. If you don't know your left from your right, there's a problem. But anyway, yes, I agree, and I'm not exposed to that. Maybe that's maybe I've made some poor assumptions that because it's not my experience. But I think it's not. You feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. It's not normal. It's not the average.
No,
person
I wouldn't say
see.
It's normal. Yeah,
okay.
those people and those people where you could end up a little clashy in whatever regard. They're definitely the outliers, which I think is why I'm still there. I think overall we have an environment that is welcoming to everybody, and I think it's easier to get involved if someone brings you into the fold. If you mentioned to a friend, oh, I just got this, I just bought my first sports car. I bought a Cayman and I'm really excited and I want to take it to the track. And someone like you or I says, oh, I've got this group I run with, you should come play. versus you find, NASA or any other sanctioning body online just on your own merit, and you don't know anybody and you show up completely on your own. I think you will have two different first-time experiences, and they'll both probably be positive, but it's definitely easier if you know at least one person.
But that's where I would implore any racer that's still listening to this podcast. If that guy shows up with a Cayman and you race in GTS and it's his first weekend, you need to go by his paddock area at some point during the day. If he's driving a Cayman, he's staying at the lodge or somewhere. He's not camping, probably. But you need to find him before that day's over and bring him a beer. Well, I'm assuming German race car drivers still drink beer, but maybe you frou-frou it up with whiskey or something. I mean, I drink whiskey at the track, so.
Right.
But that's where you become the ambassador, right? The person who invites somebody to the track, they're the ambassador. They've already adopted that person into their family, their micro track family, right? But it's our job, because this stuff, there's plenty of people who show up blind. When at VIR, the beach, nobody loves the beach, right? I used to park over at the beach because basically I like to sleep at night. We camp in a tent, and people get rowdy. They're my own race family gets rowdy, okay? I wanted to be close enough to them, but far enough away from them, right? I'm old. I like to go to bed. I like to sleep. I don't sleep well at the track. Sleeping in a sleeping bag on a trailer is a terrible idea. I still do it. But that ends up being where all the latecomers arrive to. Excuse me. And so I can't tell you how many people that I've got to meet just because I was the only person with space around me.
Right.
Now.
Right. You were just where they go.
Yeah. They're just where I go. So I don't even remember the guy's name, and I haven't seen him since. So maybe his wife got a hold of him, but he bought a Mustang. Okay. One of those 4.6 liter Mustangs. He was really excited, and he probably should have taken it to Flim Flam first. But he's an HPD one, and he's psyched. He's got Larry's the Harry's lap timer on his phone.
Yeah,
he's coming back, and he's like, "Hey, I just ran a 226. What are you running out there?" Because, I'm just in a lowly Honda. He must be faster than my lowly Honda, right?
Right. He has a V8.
Right. He has the V8. He's in a Mustang, And I was like, well, I think I'm in like a 216. And his jaw hit the floor. And I was like, look, man, you're learning. I've been where you are. You're not doing bad, right? Like a 224, that's fine, right? Leave it there. Just learn. Do whatever, So I'm trying to encourage him to do whatever his instructor says. I refuse to give people instruction outside of what their instructor says. If you're in group 3 and you're having a problem, sure, I'll give you some pointers. But if you have somebody in your passenger seat, that's who you listen to all weekend. Okay. But I will encourage you to continue to listen to that person. I will help you if you need something. So he needed tools and stuff because he forgot things. Okay. I'll lend you tools. I'll make sure they come back. You're not that far away, 20 feet max. Sunday morning, I come in from Beast of the East, and he rolls out. And within 10 minutes, I see his car being drugged by a wrecker.
Oh, no.
So, yeah. So he goes, well, the oil light came on. It sounded a little weird, so I shut it off, and they pulled me in. And I was like, well, good for you. You had a front tow strap already installed.
Okay.
You got pulled in by that tow strap. It didn't rip the front end of your car off. So that's a bonus, right? You installed that correctly. And I know a lot of racers who don't install that necessarily correctly or well enough to really get pulled out of something, right? He goes, well, do you think a rod bearing spun? And he started that motor. And I'm like, will you turn that off? That motor's done, you know? And he's like, well, I need it to go to work tomorrow. And I was like, it's not going to work tomorrow. And he's like, well, my wife takes the truck to work because it's only like a 10-mile commute. And I got like a 60-mile commute tomorrow morning. And I was like, you will not be doing it in this Mustang. He's like, you don't think if I throw some thicker oil in there? I was like, no. What you need to do is put that car back on the trailer, strap it down, drink a beverage, adult beverage, and start surfing the junkyards for an engine. Just get on your phone, start looking for an engine, you know. He's like, well, and I'm like, I'm telling you, it's cheaper to buy the junkyard engine than it's going to be to rebuild that 4.6 liter. But he needed some encouragement. He's like, oh, my wife's going to kill me. And I was like, well, I mean, normally people worry about writing their car off completely. Yours is just an engine. So those can be replaced, right? The car's not totaled. It just needs an engine, you know? So it took like an hour to talk him off the ledge, man. He was a little shaky, a little frantic. He definitely needed to calm down. Yeah. But he needed somebody to be there for him, and he didn't have anybody. So he became part of the family that day. Now, I honestly haven't seen him since, but if he said his wife was mad at him, she was probably pretty mad at him. But that kind of stuff happens.
I think the important thing to think about, like that stuff happens, and the important thing to think about is, you know, if you have a friend that, you know, or if you're the friend that got someone to come to the event, let's say you're the friend of this Mustang owner who got him there, you kind of did your part. And then once he's there or she's there, then, you know, it's still on you to make sure they're having a good time and, you know, help them get through the weekend and all that sort of thing. But that's when it's time for everyone else to step up. And, you know, stepping up can look like a lot of different things. It could be offering tools or a beverage, or in your case, some encouragement, you know, when something doesn't go right. And, you know, even if you say 30 words to this person all weekend, they could be still pretty meaningful.
I mean, I had him go find Kent Leidick and see if the CMC guys had any cheap 4.6 liters that he could source before he went home. Sure, he's not going to take it to work the next day. Well, at least I hope he didn't try to drive it to work the next day. But if he could throw, even if they brought it with them, you know, because you know those CMC guys, they tear stuff up all the time. Maybe somebody had one in the paddock.
Right.
They only have one race to make it through after Beast of the East, right? So if they're still good after Beast of the East, maybe he can give them $500 or $600. We'll all load it in your truck, and then you can drive home, right? So I tried to get him some local at the track resources. But yeah, it just, you know, the new folks, we're every single person there is an ambassador. Now, when I was talking to Aldo about instructing, those guys are really the ambassador. You know, they're the definition of the brand. Whoever is in that passenger seat, that's huge, right? But they have to rein that brain in while they're in shock, because essentially when you're in HPD in 1, you're in shock. When you're in 2, you're okay.
Right.
When you get to 3, you're fine, right? But early on, you're pretty much in shock. Those poor instructors, man. But they're integral. They're integral to the big family, right? They're integral to the NASA family, or I don't know if SCCA is doing instruction like that, but whatever the organization is, they're integral to that organization's overall family, that big picture family, because they are the instant resource. And they're often, they're the instant resource at over 100 miles an hour too. You know, somebody gets in over their head, they're the ones talking somebody out. are off the ledge, and say, hey, all right, lift, brake, ease into it. They recognize that stuff. It's important.
Yeah, and
I'm looking at my Go ahead.
They deserve a lot of credit for everything they do. I do instruct sometimes, and it takes a lot of gumption. I think that's going to be the word of the night, to hop in the car in the right seat with someone you don't know, and then kind of have this mutual trust that they're going to listen to me, and then on the driver's side, whatever this person tells me is what's correct.
Yeah. So let's talk about what a track family means to you, because you're sort of a social butterfly. I put you definitely in the extrovert camp.
Yeah, I would say so.
I believe you can float around to every single person. Apparently not everybody, but my perspective is that everybody loves Jake.
I mean, let's say 99%.
Okay,
because
that's fair.
I don't want it to sound like
let's not throw them directly under the bus
from certain people. Yeah. No, I mean, I think for me, I have other car community family at this point. But where I am now, like I said, a lot of these people have seen me grown up, and they've seen everything that, all of these life changes and life events. And, much like someone has a kid and you watch the kid grow up, or someone gets married and you watch their relationship develop, or whatever. I have had a lot of life changes and a lot of big life events throughout the last 10 or so years. And the track family is the group of people who, despite having people get out of the sport and new people come into the sport, there's a lot of constants there who have been there for forever and ever. And those are the people who I would almost say know the most of me and the most of my story, just given how long we've all been around. And at this point, it's even less about the cars when I get to see all these people, and it's more about just catching up, because we all know so much about each other, but we don't get to see each other in person except for these track weekends, because a lot of us don't live, really close to each other. So that's, I think that's maybe the most meaningful bit of it all, is getting to reconnect with people in person and just catch up.
Yeah. You and I live sort of close, but we still don't see each other. Mm-hmm. I mean, you moved. I moved first, I guess. Right. Well, you moved a lot. I don't know. But out of the general area where we were in Fairfax, right? I moved first. You moved around. In theory, our distance isn't really that far. Well, it's far, but not in a normal area. Yeah, it's easily an hour. Oh, from downtown, you better do that at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning if you want to get here in an hour. but right. So we're an hour apart. So we connect through Facebook, Messenger, whatever. But we always catch up at the track. I race with guys, bakers in Southern Maryland, and most of the guys are in the Fairfax area, but they don't always come all the way out here, unless their wife is dragging them to some winery. Mike and Zach are in like Fredericksburg, North Richmond, all that stuff. We're pretty, in the grand scheme of things, an hour is still pretty far away, right? So it is a good time to catch up.
Well, yeah.
And rekindle those relationships.
Yeah, and it's one of those where, if I'm going down to, out of town, going somewhere for another reason, whether it's car related or not, if I'm going to be in town where I know some track friends are, I do usually make a point of saying, hey, do you want to get lunch or something? But, how often does that happen, even if you're only going an hour away? Kind of infrequently.
Yeah, and I feel like you said, the length of time you've known these people, you feel a lot closer to them, especially over time. And in reality, if you just relied on race weekends, we're talking 7, 8 weekends, you might see them. Probably 6.
Right.
Not everybody makes all the races all the time. And if you miss one that they went to, and then you went to one that they miss, and now you're down to 6, and so it is good to catch up outside of it, but it's that guaranteed time. Because one of the families we share is the Madison Motorsports family. Okay. So the posts and the Discord stuff and all that jazz where they're like, who's going? When I know you guys are going, I get excited because I get to see everybody again. And I think it's important. It gets a little motivation going for me. I won't lie, in traditional Madison Motorsports fashion, which you don't assign yourself to because you have somebody else do the work for you. Most of us are working on the car until it gits loaded on the trailer. Some of us still have things to do when we get to the track. So, but it helps, some of the gaps in between events can be longer than we want, right? We say once a month, but it can be 7 weeks between events. And in those 7 weeks, if you've got a lot of stuff going on and you don't have time to work on the car, I only have this Saturday, but I know Jake's going to be there and everybody else is going to be there. Then it kind of motivates me to get up, get out there and get it done. Right. Because I don't want to be like, I had to miss it. My transmission's still out of the car or whatever I'm doing. Right. And I think that's one of the benefits of a track family is not just the help on track or the help with a car, while you're there at the track side, but because that relationship becomes important over time to everyone that's there and all the relationships you have, it helps motivate you. What other kind of benefits do you see?
I think there's just this, collective knowledge too, that is so fun. And it's so interesting to explain to people who don't do this, that, especially once you get competitive, where, these people are my competitors, and, when the helmets are on and you take a green flag, the goal is to be faster and better than everyone else that you're racing with. But then as soon as you take the checkered flag and you come in, it's all about sharing tips and, hey, I saw you went faster here, or can we compare data and how did you do that? Or, I blew the start. What's the best revs to start at? And people are willing to share that because the prevailing attitude of these people is, I say these people, you people, it's us, but our prevailing attitude is that, if everyone is faster and better, then we have tighter and more fun competition.
Oh, yeah. So early on in this podcast, the theory's been let out, and that I have, the faster you can help the guys get behind you, the more motivation you have to find time yourself. It doesn't do me any good.
I would agree.
To stonewall my competition, in generally speaking. I'm a mid to back of the pack racer, depending on the weekend and the size of my group, depending on how my car is behaving, depending on how some other people's cars are behaving. Say 5th to 7th place, somewhere in there is a good finish for me. And I consistently try to be there. Okay. but it doesn't behoove me to withhold anything from the guys behind me. Now, if I were winning all the time, I might have a different tune. Maybe I don't want second, third, and fourth to know what's going on so much, but they will give you 90% of the truth and generally blatantly tell you got to figure the last of it out. They will get you almost all the way there, and you sort of have to think it out. And it might take you a couple of weekends, and then you'll come back and be like, wow, okay, I found it, right? People don't generally give 100% of the answer away for free all the time. Not for some things, okay? But they're still not going to withhold it. And they may only lie to you a little bit. At least in my class.
Yeah, but I mean,
we're a pretty competitive class.
No, but I got this when I moved to Spec 3, where, you know, the top 3 are generally pretty consistent in who they are, and they may swap positions here and there for each race, but they tend to all finish toward the pointy end. And obviously, new car to me, a lot to learn, and I was just trying to take it in and, you know, ask questions as I could. And all 3 of those consistent top finishers were more than willing to share all the tips they had, because, you know, what do they care if they tell me this is the ideal RPM for a standing start, or this is the ideal gear for turn 10 at Summit Point, or this is, you know, whatever. You still have to go and execute on it. And if you don't execute it as well as they do, you're not going to be up there. And to your point, I'm sure there's stuff they're not totally telling you, but they would rather me be on their bumper versus me be, you know, half a lap behind.
Yeah, it doesn't, in that aspect, it doesn't help grow the class. It doesn't help build the relationship. And I think that's why when you get the 90% solution from them, or in my case, I get 90% solutions, they're telling me it's a 90% solution, and they expect more out of me to figure it out. Right. And I don't I don't get upset about that. I feel that's a more than fair way to address a question from me anyway, especially as a direct competitor. Yeah, I just, especially racing. So the race family, we can be the best friends in the paddock, and we're not mortal enemies on track. I would never say that. But the competitiveness, the friendship is out the window. The respect is not out the window, though. And I think that's what is garnered when you have a good track family. You garner respect for each other. You understand how the pointy end of your field operates, right? So whatever, we're in practice, they're coming up behind you. It behooves you to courteously let them by if they're faster than you, because and they won't be upset if you try to tow, if you try to get up on their bumper and stay there, right? They expect it. They'll encourage it. They'll likely wave you like, come on, you know. They're going to encourage that. Before. Yeah, they're going to encourage that behavior. So but that's just because of your race group family. That gives you learn that respect for each other. And when you don't, when it's a divided house, I feel there's problems. I feel that's what causes on-track incidents at times, you know, because we don't give each other respect. We don't have a lot of body contact, knock on wood again, because we understand where everybody is. I talk to these guys. I know, they're buying a house. They're building a house. They're trying to have a baby, whatever they're trying to do in their life. If just because I could take a position with a little nudge doesn't mean I need to nudge them and add that to their list, right? We race clean. I respect what they have to do, and I respect them as a racer, and I'm going to take it cleanly, right? And I think that's really important in that race family. I tend to look at track family as a whole as like a gigantic, weird Venn diagram where NASA or your race organization or your track organization is the biggest, giantest circle. Okay. Now, in your case, you have multiple families, right? You have Spec 3, you have NASA as a whole. I'm going to miss some because I only know the ones that we sort of operate in the same ones. But you have NASA as a whole, you have Spec 3, you have the NASA officials family, and then you have your OutMotorsports family. And in that OutMotorsports family, you have the folks that are doing some of these outside of the track things. Your Wednesday, is it every Wednesday you guys are doing a Zoom meeting? Is it a Zoom or a Teams?
Oh no, it's once a month.
Once a month? Okay. Yeah. I see it. Yeah, I'm like, I'm always going to go do that.
It was,
I'm like, I'm going to join that.
Yeah, we did it weekly at first, and it was like too much.
Yeah. I always say I'm going to join that, and then somehow I miss it. And then I'm like, man, I got to get on the computer because there's a meeting, you know? And then it happened like an hour and a half ago. But so you have your Venn diagram of track family is very diverse and far spread, right? Mine's different. I have the Honda Challenge kids. I wouldn't say Spec 3 is not part of my track family. I'm not in that race group, so it's different. I'm like that cousin that always annoyingly comes around, right? We literally are. We get on Mike's golf cart, smoking cigars, having a drink, and we come by and we annoy them. You know, we have the Madison Motorsports track family, which is important in a certain way because we're literally trying to usher in new people who may be interested in this sport. Right. So I try to make time. You guys are always on the complete far end of the paddock from me, but I always try to find time to come down and talk to some of them, you know?
Right. And I know they appreciate that, you know, and then they get excited to see you much as you get excited to see them. Like, you know, I think this is an important point to make, especially with the college crowd versus all of us who are, you know, I've got white in my beard. Like I'm becoming an old man.
Get out of here, Jake.
But, you know, right. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's, you know, I'm not being nice to the college kids because I feel obligated. I'm not being nice to them because someone was nice to me when I was their age. I'm being nice to them because I'm excited that they're so pumped to be there. And I'm genuinely interested in seeing them get on track and, you know, see who actually sticks around and works their way up the whole ladder and goes racing at some point. Like I genuinely want to help them get there. So yeah, that is an important family to me because a lot of you all that are older than me did that for me.
Yeah. How old did you say you were getting white in your beard?
33. It's probably from working too much. Versus age,
well, okay. Yeah. Literally what you're doing for them, I was doing for you because I have you by 10 years and there's more white in my beard than there is anything else. So,
yeah,
it could be all the late nights working on the race car, but you don't do that. So, we're going to scratch that one off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of my last topics is
on the point of.
Are you going to just ferment it?
Say,
no, you're good. Are you going to go get the comb and just ferment stuff? Come on.
Ugh, no, we're not going there. No, I don't miss working on the car. I was, it freed up time for me to build a community that has been worth building. So that's been the only benefit of, not spending my time underneath a 25-year-old BMW.
But you don't want to take the Zoom call from underneath a 25-year-old BMW?
Yeah,
like, hey, guys,
but it'd be
I
hard to
can't
hear everybody.
That's true. Hey, guys, these are the topics for the week. Sorry, I'm not looking at you. And if the ratchet gets picked up in the mic, I'm sorry.
Right.
I've got a clutch to change, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think what you've done with OutMotorsports has been amazing. Watching it grow from the idea. I'm pretty sure the graphic designer that did your logo did my Blind Apex podcast logo. So
I'm sure he did. Scotty has been an invaluable resource and friend to have along for this whole ride since I decided to do the thing. So
yeah, and I consider him. I mean, he's part of the Madison Motorsports family, right? So
yeah,
and it was initially a college club to go to the track or go do autocross to take our heathen actions off the street and focus it in a safe manner to learn. And he's a member.
exactly.
And he's still involved. I hit him up right away. I was like, I need a logo. He's like, well, it's going to take some time. And I said, that's fine. I have time.
Right.
I was like, you tell me how much it is. That's fine. Like, let's do this. Get me some drawings when you get it to me. Right. So,
right.
And really, that's the importance of the family. To me, there's a lot of benefits on the track, but the off the track benefits, you're going to meet some really interesting folks. Okay.
Exactly.
I met guys, they pulled up in this toter home. They pulled out a Viper and a 911, one of the factory 911 cars. I don't know German stuff. They had more tires. I built a brand new car that was very expensive. Okay. They had at least that much money in tires ready to go for both of these cars.
Wow.
The Porsche was a backup car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you're going to meet people and you never know who you're going to meet. You just don't know. And they're going to be friendly. You're going to want to network. They will have skills that you may need in the future for some other crazy adventure like I'm going on now, like the adventure you're going on with OutMotorsports. We're all still connected. If I need a car detailed, I'm taking it to Fredericksburg and Mike at Shine In Line is going to do it. I race with him, but the man I know his personality. If you need it cleaned and you want it to look better than it looked in the showroom, you just take it to him. He'll do it. He's a perfectionist. I see some of the stuff he sends me and I'm like, oh, I can't believe you got all that out. And he was like, 20 hours later, but he'll do it. He'll leave 9:00 at night. You're going to meet people and they're not just all car guys doing car things, and you don't always need car things, right? But you're just going to meet people and you're going to stay engaged, and it really becomes, people say community. It is a community. I live in a community, but I swear I'm closer to the people that I go to the track with than I am any of my neighbors. Now, we're all on 5 acres and we came out here for peace and quiet. I kind of interrupt that every time I turn the race car on,
right.
But the community camaraderie portion doesn't leave.
Exactly.
When you leave the track, if you hit somebody up, you might not necessarily live close to any of the guys you race with, or even if it's a HPD guy looking to do Spec 3, you may not live near him, but maybe he's got a part you need. Maybe he's willing to mail it to you, so you can make the next event, whatever. The family, to me, it's actually true friendships that can occur. And the bond is over something we all love. And in the grand scheme of things, to me, if I hear a lot of people complain about, oh, my series isn't growing. Now, there's lots of factors to that. What's the economy look like? What is your class look like? You're not going to grow a class with 1970s MGs. Okay. Doesn't work that way. Okay.
Right.
But if it's a semi-popular car, or the rules are inviting to semi-popular cars, you need to grow your family, your track family, to be inviting, and then your class will grow. That's what I've decided.
Right.
The hooligan Honda Challenge 100%. Guys are inviting. They're loud, but they're inviting. They will not turn you away.
Yeah.
You may go deaf from the music and the burnouts of the pit bikes and the yelling Honda Challenge, but you will not be turned away. You will not leave there thirsty, and you likely won't leave there hungry. And they will share their information with you. And I think most of the race groups are that way. I guarantee if I walked over there with an empty adult beverage and I walked over to Spec 3, you guys would give me something, right? We could talk. We could talk about, we race in the same session, right? We will commiserate over how slow these 944s are, or man, those Miatas do some crazy stuff, right? We'll commiserate together. We can go to the Miatas and they'll commiserate about how slow the 944s are. I don't talk to the 944 guys, but I don't even know where they are. They sort of arrive. They just show up on grid. But I need to reach out to them next year just to make sure they're okay.
Oh, for sure.
A lot of folks are like, how do I grow a class? And really, it starts here. You need to be inviting. Yeah. You need to be open and accepting. And you need to seek people out too, because there's a lot of folks that show up, they're intimidated. When they show up, they're an HPD 1, they're deer in headlights. They don't want to also muster up the strength to come find you and talk to you. Some of them do. Some of them are extreme extroverts. Big old alpha males running around, with a bullhorn saying hello. I mean, I've never seen it that far, but you know what I'm talking about. There's folks who are very open and very extrovert, and they say hi to everybody. I'll be going to the bathroom and they wave to me and say hello. And I'm like, who the hell was that? And I've been in this paddock for 20 years, But yeah, you need to be out there and you need to beat the bush and you need to go find people and be inviting and open with them. And that'll help you grow your class and your track family will get bigger.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's going to make it a podcast, Jake. Did you want to share any of your upcoming OutMotorsports events and all your socials?
Yeah, I mean, follow us everywhere at OutMotorsports. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. No TikTok because I don't believe in it. But
come on, man, you don't do TikTok dances.
I almost have contracts. What's that?
You don't do TikTok dances.
No, I just dance in person.
Okay,
that's dancing for me.
I will start recording all your dancing in the paddock and post for you.
That sounds great. That sounds more productive.
I won't actually do that. But.
As far as events, we have contracts just about signed for 2 events at Summit Point this year. First weekend of April and first weekend of October. We're going to do 1 rally cross and 1 track cross. And then I'm working to get something done, not in the Mid-Atlantic region, because we've got people elsewhere that are really anxious and excited to have some track event closer to them. So that's in the works. We'll do some street drives. We've got our Zoom calls, usually the first Wednesday of every month, unless I don't want to do it, and then we do it some other time.
That out of Mid-Atlantic region, is that Northeast or Southeast or both?
It's more like Midwest is where we've got a lot of people. So
all right, sweet.
Yeah, it's interesting, where people are willing to travel from. A lot of people in North and Southeast regions will come to Mid-Atlantic for our events because we're doing 2 or 3 a year.
Right.
The Midwest is a little farther, so there's a market there of people who would love to do something, and I want to make it happen.
Oh, you're going to go out there and invade the grid life area.
Well, we might partner with them to do something if I can't get a track on my own. I'm still figuring that out.
That'll be good. They're good people.
Yeah, they are. I've talked to them before, and they're eager to help support. So,
yeah, sweet. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
That's kind of what's going on.
Awesome.
Until next time, keep working on yourself, keep working on the car, and let's get faster.